Welcome to This Week in Crowder College, an in-depth look into how Crowder College students, faculty, and staff are working together so students soar to new heights, communities are impacted, and lives are changed. This Week in Crowder College is sponsored by the law offices of Wood and Peterson in Neosho, specializing in workers' compensation, personal injury, Social Security disability, and more. Learn more online at neoshoattorney.com. Now here's this week's edition of This Week in Crowder College.
Welcome to this week's edition of This Week in Crowder College, right here on 91.7 FM. Adam Winkler here with you in the KNEO studios, and this week we're joined by Matthew Cole. He is a library assistant out there at Crowder College. And Matthew, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Adam, for having me.
Well, before we jump into the genealogy workshop that we're going to talk about today, give us a little background on yourself and how you ended up at Crowder College.
So I am a Neosho native. I've grown up here for about 26 years. I've been in the area. Went to Crowder for a couple of years, got a history and a business administration degree. Transferred down to John Brown University, where I got my degree in political science. And then I came back to my hometown to serve the community. Started off in HR at Access Family Care, and then when I saw the library position open up at Crowder, based on my previous experience here and the relationships I built with colleagues and friends, really wanted to take advantage of that opportunity. Once again, serve my Crowder family.
Well, a lot of great things happen out there at Crowder College, and a lot of things happen at the Lee Library, and one of those things coming up on October 18th, which is a Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. There's going to be a genealogy workshop. So tell us about the workshop, and I know this is a bigger part of some of the symposiums you guys have been doing there at the Lee Library, but let's start off with this genealogy workshop. Where did the idea come from? I know a lot of people are interested in finding out maybe where they came from and who they're related to.
The idea was actually brought to me by the division chair of the social sciences, and they've fielded a lot of calls about genealogy research and whether they had the resources for it. And so they approached me and asked if I'd be interested in giving a talk on genealogy, just some of the basic tips and tricks of the trade. We actually held our first event in April, kind of a test run to see what interest we might have and to see the response. And we were greatly encouraged to see a positive response. We had a great turnout for that first event. And so we're going to put on another event in October, as you mentioned, in a couple weeks from now, from 2 to 4 on the 18th. And we're really going to be talking about all sorts of different aspects of genealogy. A brief history of the research throughout American history, some documents that you might need in order to conduct effective research, some pitfalls or different issues that you might come across to watch out for when you're doing your research. And then we'll even give you an opportunity, about an hour and a half, to do your own research using computers that we will offer to the public and hopefully put those tools into practice.
Now, this event is free and it's open to the public on Wednesday, October 18th from 2 to 4 p.m. And that's just part of Crowder's spirit, part of Crowder's mentality. You guys want to give back and inform the public, and this is one way that you can really do that and allow people to attend this workshop for free. And if you could kind of tell me about how you got involved in genealogy research and what the passion is behind that for you.
Growing up, I had the same ideas that a lot of people have, like, where did I come from? Who are my family? And just, while I hadn't had an opportunity before, I was always interested in how you did the research. It's always easy to say, I want to look into this, but how you do it is just as important as well. And so once again, when the division chair came up and asked if I'd be interested, it was also, again, it matched my interest as well, just being able to look into that process and how to pass that information along to others as well.
So as you've dove into this and learned things, what are some of the interesting things that you feel like you've learned about how to research genealogy? And maybe have you found any interesting facts for your family at all that surprised you?
Well, my parents actually had told me a little bit about my family history. My dad's side actually comes from Northern Ireland. And so I had an idea of where I came from. As for interesting facts about or doing my research, one thing that stood out to me is I'm a big map reader. I like maps. I like to see how boundaries change, and I like to see how trends change. And one thing that interested me is how the lines in Missouri have changed throughout the decades. If you were to go back to the 1840s, for instance, we had a Newton County, but it went all the way from McDonald County today up to about halfway through Vernon County.
Oh, wow.
So if you had family members here in the 1840s, let's say in Carthage, you might be tempted to look for Jasper County in the census records. Well, Jasper County didn't exist at that time. So having that background information is very crucial and very critical and can help relieve some of the stress that comes from this type of research. So
coming up, it's the Genealogy Workshop coming up on Wednesday, October 18th from 2 to 4 p.m. And do people need to RSVP to let you know that they're coming, or if they have questions, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you to ask those questions?
So we do recommend you RSVP, or at least let us know you're planning on coming. They can do that by calling our main desk at 417-455-5606, or they can email us at CIRC, that is CIRC, @crowder.edu. We'll go ahead and put you on the list, and we'll make sure that we keep you updated on the event that's coming up and make sure that you're ready to come.
Well, I want to circle back to something you talked about earlier. You said when you saw the library job come open at Crowder College, you knew it's something that you wanted to do. And so tell us about the Lee Library there and just everything that's there at the Lee Library for students to take a part in, and also what has drawn you back to Crowder College into the library aspect.
So we have a great team here at Lee Library. We have an access librarian that's in charge of bringing in new materials. And she is one of the ones that helped actually bring in the Sutherland collection, Civil War research collection, that is actually the basis for our symposium system. We have a public services librarian that helps with instructional classes here in the library for students, how to research, how to use our databases. And we actually cover some of that same material in the symposium tomorrow. We also assist with citations for research papers. How to use APA, MLA, Chicago, those types of things. And then, of course, we also offer books and articles for students to check out as well. And we have ebooks as well that they can access online.
Well, a lot of great things happening out there on the campus of Crowder College, including the upcoming Genealogy Workshop taking place on October 18th. That is a Wednesday from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Lee Library. And if you have any questions, just contact Matthew Cole out there at Crowder College. He'll be the one instructing the course there on the 18th. So Matthew, best wishes to you as you do that, and I hope for a great turnout. And thank you for sharing your insights on This Week in Crowder College.
I appreciate it, Adam. And again, thank you for inviting me on your show.
Thank you for listening to This Week in Crowder College. This Week in Crowder College is sponsored by the law offices of Wood and Peterson in Neosho. You can listen to this broadcast again by going online to kneo.org or to crowder.edu. Tune in once again next week for another edition of This Week in Crowder College on KNEO 91.7 FM.
If you live within the broadcast area of KNEO Radio, we have a podcast just for you. The KNEO Community Connection keeps your finger on the pulse of what's coming up in the four-state area, telling you about upcoming events you don't want to miss, organizations in our communities doing great work, and conversations with the dynamic citizens who are behind it all. There's a lot going on around you that you don't want to miss. This is Luke Taylor. Join me each week as we talk about what's happening with the people who are making it happen. Brought to you by KNEO Radio 91.7 FM and the Sky High Podcast Network. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts.